हरे कृष्ण। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। So we will discuss on this chapter, frustration of the sacrifice of Daksha. This is a very interesting chapter. So we'll see what Prabhupada has to say about what is happening in sacrifice of Lord Shiva. Maitreya said when Lord Shiva heard from Narada that Sati, his wife, was now dead because of Prajapati Daksha's insult to her, and that his soldiers had been driven away by Ribhu demigods, he became greatly angry. And actually, I want to discuss on how this material nature is interacting and why there is a problem. See, what happens is when Lord is dealing with this material nature has don't have separate any desires. Only the Lord's desires are fulfilled with the material nature fulfills the Lord desires. When it comes to us living entities, we can desire, but material nature is not in our control. So that's why the problem is there for us. For Lord, material nature in his control and all his desires are fulfilled by it. We have desires, but we don't have control on material nature. And even if you want to control, the control is Lord is allowing. Upadrishta Anumanta. So that is, I will discuss it tomorrow. We'll just complete some of the purpose. But this is a very interesting understanding I got and I wanted to share. But we'll take few shlokas and we'll see in between. So Lord Shiva understood that Sati, being the youngest daughter of Daksha, could present the case of Lord Shiva's purity of purpose and would thus be able to mitigate the misunderstanding between Daksha and himself. But such a compromise was not attained, and Sati was deliberately insulted by her father by not being received properly when she visited his house without being invited. Sati herself could have killed her father Daksha because she is the personified material energy and has immense power to kill and create within this material universe. So in Brahma Samhita it is said, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha. So she is capable of creating, dissolving many universes, but although she is so powerful, she acts under the direction of Supreme Personality of Godhead as his shadow. And this is actually what Lord Shiva controls. He controls whole material energy. That's why he is also Sadashiva controls the material energy. That is the point. He is the predominant, he is the master. And but although she is so powerful, she acts under the direction of Supreme Lord. She could have punished, but she thought that since she was his daughter, it was not proper to kill him. Thus, she decided to give up her own body. And when she had obtained from his, and Daksha did not check, and so Daksha did not stop. And this is actually, see, even in such a extreme cases also, the etiquette is followed. The rules are followed in Vedic culture. And Krishna has to kill his uncle Kamsa. There is no option. But remaining uncles, Balram kills. Krishna don't kill. Krishna is only killing one person. He said, okay, one is okay. All others I should not kill. And that job is taken care by Balramji. And in case of Kurukshetra battle also, when Arjuna has to fight with Bhishma, Drona and all, actually Yudhishthir Maharaj goes first to all the Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya and Shalya, offers obeisances, ask their permission to fight with them. Then they give blessings, then they come and then they fight. So even in that extreme cases, they don't forget the etiquette, they follow it properly. So in this case also Sati, she knows it's such a terrible thing what Daksha is doing. And instead of punishing Daksha, she just said, okay, I will give up my body. So when Sati passed away, giving up her body, the news was conveyed by Narada to Lord Shiva. Narada always carries the news of such events because he knew their import. When Lord Shiva heard that his chaste wife Sati was dead, he naturally became exceedingly angry. He also understood that Bhrigu Muni has created Bhrigu Deva demigods by uttering the mantras of the Yajurveda, and that these demigods had driven away all his soldiers who were present in the arena of sacrifice. Therefore, he wanted to reply to this insult, and thus he decided to kill Daksha because he was the cause of death of Sati. So here, it's not that Lord Shiva want to take revenge. He is loving. He has equal amount of love for all living entities, equal to all. So he has love and compassion for Daksha also and Bhrigu also and all these personalities. So now he is punishing as a father. So that should be very clear. So it is not an envy or any. The anger is out of compassion only. Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair, which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughed like a madman, and dashed the hair to the ground. So some of the behavior of Lord Shiva is actually showing mode of ignorance, but it is not. It is transcendental only, but it looks like ignorance. Like say now Krishna is crying. Crying is in what mode of ignorance? But Krishna is not affected by mode of ignorance. Why is he crying? It is Leela, pastime. So it comes to such personalities like Lord Shiva. We should not think that it is because of his when our anger in this material world is when our desire is not fulfilled, we become angry. Or somebody offends us, we become angry. And it gets hurt, the ego gets hurt, we become angry. But not in the case of Lord Shiva. And then it says, a fearful black demon as high as the sky and as bright as three suns combined was thereby created. His teeth was fearful and the hair on his head like blazing fire. He had thousands of arms equipped with various weapons and he was garlanded with heads of men. Oh, this is how Veerabhadra is created. Very Now, see, if Lord Vishnu has to come, he creates, and you see the followers of Lord Vishnu, they are also very beautiful. Vishnu Dutas will come, they are very beautiful. But if you see Shiva's followers, their forms are like this because they are all created by mode of ignorance. That's why their forms are also in ignorance. Whereas form like Hanumanji, the followers of Lord, even monkey, but Hanuman looks very beautiful. That is the form. Lord Narsingadev comes. Is even in Varaha form also is the most beautiful form. Everybody will fall in love with Varahadev, even though it is body of a boar. But Lord, even it is never Tamoguna. It is always transcendental. It's so beautiful. But here, Lord Shiva, it is Tamoguna forms. And that is difference. When the gigantic demon asked with folded hands, what shall I do, my Lord? Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutanath, directly ordered, because you are born from my body, you are the chief of my associates, therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice. So, very clear instruction. Don't come back. So, here is the beginning of competition between Brahma Tejas and Shiva Tejas. So, one is in, uh, of course, Brahma Tejas in goodness also, but here the followers of Daksha, they they were affected by passion. By Brahma Tejas, Brahminical strength, Bhrugumani has created Rubu demigods who have driven away the soldiers of Lord Shiva, situated in the arena. When Lord Shiva heard that his soldiers have been driven away, he created the tall black demon Veerabhadra to retaliate. There is sometimes a competition between mode of goodness and mode of ignorance. So here it is actually goodness and ignorance, not passion. That is the way of mental existence. Even when one is situated in mode of goodness, there is every possibility that his position will be mixed with or attacked by the mode of passion or ignorance. That is the law of mental nature. Although pure goodness or Shuddha Sattva is the basic principle in spiritual world, pure manifestation of goodness is not possible in material world. So every day we get affected by the modes. Every day we are having this fight. We want to wake up early morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. No, mode of ignorance don't allow us. They said no. For you, it is 4 is sufficient. So like that we have, and evening we have mode of course we need these modes. If you don't have passion, we'll not be able to perform any activity properly. And we need ignorance also. Otherwise we cannot sleep at night. Without ignorance, we'll not get sleep also. So that means the modes are needed. But in overall, we should be in mode of goodness. That is safe for us. So thus the struggle for existence between different material qualities is always present. This quarrel between Lord Shiva and Bhrigu, centered around Prajapati Daksha, is the practical example of such competition between different qualitative modes of material nature. So this we are discussing on last 3 chapters. This is actually the competition between different modes only. Shiva, Bhrigu, and Daksha. Daksha, passion; Bhrigu, goodness; Lord Shiva, ignorance. Now you fight. And now also we are fighting for that. And he says, Maitreya continued, my dear Vidra, that black person was personified anger of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was prepared to execute the orders of Lord Shiva, thus considering himself capable of coping with any power offered against him. He circumambulated Lord Shiva. So, Lord Shiva invested all his power in him. So, Virabhadra is extremely, extremely powerful. He can finish off anything. But in general, mode of goodness to survive. But sometimes this also happens, because why sometimes different modes survive? That is time factor. This should be clear. Now, passion and ignorance will be very prominent. Why? The time is favoring Kali. That's why like that. So when Yudhishthir Maharaj asked Narada Muni why Lord is when Shishupal was killed, then he asked why Lord is showing partiality. Then he says, no, no, Lord is not partial. Lord is always equal only. He only supports the time factor. And time factor try to bring mode of goodness all the means trying to, but sometimes it gives different times, different modes are supported. So now goodness is not much supported. That's why it's very difficult for us. Many times we get affected. Our mind is always agitated, disturbed. This is not, in one way we can say it's not anybody's fault. We can say it's time. What can we do? Time. And nobody will get offended if you say time is the problem. And this is every time it happens for all the living entities. And when people are in Satyuga, it is so much goodness. So goodness is favored. And all the time Lord favors goodness. He don't favor any individual person. Lord favors goodness. And whoever is in goodness, they get the favor of Lord. Why goodness Lord is favoring? Because that will help a living entity to elevate in his consciousness and even to remain happy in this material world also. So that's why Lord favors goodness. And Shiva, he takes care of ignorance. So here, Maitreya says, my dear Vidya, the black person was the personified anger of the Supreme Personality of God, and he was prepared to execute the order of Lord Shiva, thus considering himself capable of coping with any power against, offended against. So he was having a tremendous power for destruction. This is especially for destruction. So he is going. Many other soldiers of Lord Shiva followed the fierce personality in a tumultuous uproar. He carried a great trident, fearful enough to kill even death, and on his legs he wore bangles, which seemed to roar. So this is how Tamoguna personifications, how they look like. We cannot even imagine also. At that time, all the persons assembled in the sacrificial and the priest, the chief of the sacrificial performance, and the brahmanas and their wives wondered where the darkness was coming from. Later, they could understand it was the death storm, and all of them were full of anxiety. So it just happened in few minutes only. Here, Sati left her body. Immediately, Narada appeared in front of Lord Shiva and told him, "See, this is what happened at Daksha's yajna. Just now, your wife left her body." Lord Shiva says, "Okay, take it. I will also show them how mischievous they are." Conjecturing on the origin of the storm, they said, there is no wind blowing, no cows were passing, nor is it possible that the death storm could rise by plunderers, for there is still the king, Barhi, who could punish them. Where is the death storm blowing from? This is the dissolution of planet now to occur. So Barhi is actually after Dhruva Maharaj. So then there is Uttanapada Priyavrata. Now we are discussing about the third daughter of Swayambhu Manu. So then first son of Swayambhu Manu, his son will be Dhruva, and then in that lineage only we have King Barhi. And specifically significance in this verse is Prancha Barhi Jivati. The king of that part of the land was known as Barhi. And although he was old, he was still living and he was a very strong ruler. Thus, there was no possibility of any invasion of thieves and plunderers. Indirectly it is stated here that the thieves, plunderers, rogues, and unwanted population can exist only in a state or kingdom where there is no strong ruler. When in the name of justice, thieves are allowed liberty, the state or kingdom are disturbed by such plunderers and unwanted population. The death storm created by the soldiers and assistants of Lord Shiva resembled the situation at the time of dissolution of this world. When there is a need for dissolution of material creation, this fresh function is conducted by Lord Shiva. Therefore, the situation now created by him resembled the dissolution of cosmic manifestation. Actually, here in India, Uttar Pradesh had so many such such mischievous people, very very dangerous criminals, and the rulers was little strong yogi. Of course, I generally don't take the name in the class, but here is an exception. He's a strong ruler. He immediately punished them, and now the state is quite better than what it was previously. So this is actually needed. So they are taking a strong action. Of course, people may not support my opinion, but I appreciate whatever he is doing because that's how the ruler should be. He should be very strong. Even an American president now, he's also quite strong in his opinion. Of course, they cannot remain for a long time like that, but that is actually good for the people in general because you encourage all these criminals and illegal people coming and staying, and people are just they are not very strong. They should take strong stand, then the country and every whole world will be benefited like that. People will be afraid of that rulers. Like Kumbh Mela also, they wantedly created stampede, and then the because who are there in the stampede, some of them they were known to me, means they known to some devotees. So they were telling that it was wantedly created. Now then the announcement was made by the chief minister. I am going to punish them very severely. And after that, no stampede happened because they wantedly created. So this is how the mischievous things happens in this creation. Of course, I'm sorry I did. Generally don't take such situations, but this was exception. So Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, she is the third daughter of Swayambhu Manu, along with other women assembled, became very anxious and said, "This danger has been created by Daksha because of the death of Sati, who, even though completely innocent, quit her body as her sisters looked on." So it's a very, very sad situation for the sisters and mother. In front of their eyes, the daughter is dying. Can you imagine how painful it must be? And Prasuti is so pained because of seeing in front of your eyes, and nobody is stopping, nobody could help her, and she left her body in a very painful state. What gives more pain is like no, I could not help, so that gives more pain. Prasuti must be really feeling sad that I could not help my daughter. In front of my eyes, my daughter is getting burnt. And can you imagine? She is the granddaughter of Brahma. Prasuti is Swayambhu Manu's daughter. So even grandchildren of Brahma have to see such terrible pain in their life. And this is a very sad state of this material world. Everybody has to go through that situation. Of- If we compare to Prasuti's situation, our situation is better that we didn't see any of our family members committing suicide in front of our eyes. Like, so this metal world is like that, is so cruel, so painful, and even at that such a exalted position, such a very, very no elevated personalities also they have to go through such situations. So Prasuti, being a soft-hearted woman, could immediately understand that the imminent danger approaching due to the impious activities of hard-hearted Prajapati Daksha. So she has two pains. Like she is painful that her husband is so hard-hearted. So that is also a very painful thing. Why my husband is such a, such a cruel person. And second thing is, she could not, she has to see her own daughter. And he was so cruel that he would not save her youngest daughter Sati from the act of committing suicide in the presence of her sisters. So Sati's mother could understand how much Sati had been pained by the insult of her father. Sati had been present along with the other daughters, and Daksha had purposely received all of them but her, because she happened to be the wife of Lord Shiva. So Daksha, when Sati saw that Daksha is receiving others very nicely, but is not even looking at Sati, can you imagine how much it is? Like Daksha is saying, "Oh, no, you have come, my daughter is receiving Devhuti, Akuti, and other uh, aunties of Sati and others, great personalities who are Sati sisters or wives of Dharma, is receiving all of them, but not Sati." So, thus, consideration conceived the wife of Daksha of the danger which was now ahead, and thus she knew Daksha must be prepared to die for his heinous act. So Prasuti understood what is going to happen to Daksha. So she is the, of all the people, most affected is Prasuti, because she is mother, and in front of her daughter is dying. Who got pained more than Lord Shiva will be Prasuti also. For Lord Shiva, she is wife, but for Prasuti, she is a daughter, and she is dying in front of him. Of course, Sati, Shiva is also affected because he could not protect. But yeah, that's why Prasuti's name is mentioned. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered, and he pierces the rulers of different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering his hands like flags, and thunder scatters the clouds all over the world. So Pratusti, she's saying, Prasuti, who appreciated the power and strength of her son-in-law, Lord Shiva, is describing what he does at the time of dissolution. So Prasuti knows what is Lord Shiva, and she's understanding, and she's trying to explain everybody. See, you don't know what is Shiva. No, you offended Lord Shiva, and that too, it's actually insult. He could not protect his wife, and his wife is committing suicide, and because of you. No normal men also will not be able to tolerate. What to speak of Lord Shiva? He is going to destroy the whole universe. This description indicates that the strength of Lord Shiva is so great that the Daksha's power could not be set in comparison to it. At the time of Lord dissolution, Lord Shiva, with his trident in hand, danced over the rulers of different planets, and his hair is scattered, just as clouds are scattered over all directions, in order to plunge the different planets into the incessant torrents of rain. In the last phase of dissolution, all the planets become inundated with waters, and the inundation is caused by the dancing of Lord Shiva. You dance, we destroy things. This is how Lord Shiva is destroying. This dance is called Pralaya dance, or dance of dissolution. Sometimes when you have hurricanes and tornadoes and tsunamis and volcanoes and earthquakes, this is also Pralaya dance only. Lord Shiva's becomes upset, then whole material nature, all these things. Prasuti could understand that the dangers ahead results not only for Daksha's having neglected a daughter, but also because of his neglecting the prestige and honor of Lord Shiva. So she is the most affected when Prasuti is giving her conclusion. The gigantic black man bared his fearful teeth. At that moment of his, by the moment of his bows, he scattered the luminaries all over the sky, and he covered them with his strong, piercing effulgence. Because of the misbehavior of Daksha, even Lord Brahma, Daksha's father, could not have been saved from the great exhibition of anger. So this is more powerful than even Brahma also. While all the people talked among themselves, Daksha saw dangerous omens from all sides, from earth and from the sky. So generally, this is actually nimittas they are called. Arjuna also says nimittani chapashani viparitani keshava. He says nimitta means they are like omens. And this is also a science. By studying certain omens, we can know what is going to happen. And people have this simple omens. If you want to go out, suddenly somebody sneezes, then you have to wait. It is an indication that it is not going to work, so you stop. And there are some omens like that. If a cat actually crosses, but there is actually not cat crossing. Cat should cross the street in front of you. It should cut your road, look back towards you, or in fear. That is actually bad omen, not just cat crossing. It should cross, it should look back to you, and in a fearful way, it should look to you. That is actually, they are there in the Puranas. These nimittas, the indication of nimittas are given in Puranas also. And even Mahabharata, we can see in Bhagavad Gita also and Bhagavatam also some places. Yudhishthir Maharaj is seeing all the nimittas, right? When Krishna left this world, he's saying, oh, I am seeing all these ill omens. So this nimittas is a proper sign. So when Puranas, if you go, then you can see different indications of what is going to happen in Ramayana also. Ravana, Mandodari talks to uh, Ravana. She gives so many indications that this is very dangerous for you, brought Sita. And one of the indications he says that you are getting snakes in the kitchen. Snake in the kitchen means the owner of the house is going to die, or his life is in danger. So like that, there are certain ill omens. So here, uh, in this verse, Daksha has been described as Mahatma. The word Mahatma has been commented upon by different commentators in various manners. Viragavacharya has indicated that this word Mahatma means study in heart. That means he's so hard-hearted. That is, so say that Daksha was so strong-hearted that even when his beloved daughter was prepared to lay down her life, he was steady and unshaken. But in spite of being so strong-hearted, he was perturbed when he saw the various disturbances created by the gigantic black demon. Vishwanath Chakravarti remarks in his connection that even if one is called Mahatma, a great soul, unless he exhibits the symptoms of Mahatma, he should be considered a Duratma or a degraded soul. Bhagavad Gita, the word Mahatma describes a pure devotee of the Lord. Mahatma nam sumam pata daivim prakriti mashrata. Mahatma is always under the guidance of the internal energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus, uh, how could such a misbehaved person as Daksha be Mahatma? A Mahatma is supposed to have all good qualities. So Daksha is not good Mahatma. He should instead be called Duratma, a degraded soul. The word Mahatma is described, Mahatma to describe the qualifications Daksha is used sarcastically. And then he says that, my dear Vidura, all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the arena of sacrifice. They were of short stature and were equipped with various kinds of weapons. Their bodies appeared to be like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran all around the sacrificial area and thus began to create disturbances. So here, this is ignore because it is manifestation of ignorance. Definitely, it is going to destroy any destruction, any huge destruction. We should know that is the power of Lord Shiva only. I told all tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, all these things are Shiva's manifestation, his anger. You do what happens is when our false ego rises, the destruction happens because Lord Shiva represents ego. So because of all false ego, finish. We destroy ourselves because of our pride, right? False ego increases, we destroy ourselves only. No need of any material creation to destroy. Fall comes before, like pride comes before fall, right? Some of the soldiers pulled down the pillars which were supporting the pandals of sacrifice. Some of them entered the female quarters. Some began destroying the sacrificial area. Some entered the kitchen and the residential quarters. So everything they destroyed there because one fellow's pride, one fellow's false ego destroyed everything. Daksha. See, credit also you get the defame also. Both the things will happen. Daksha, we may say, "Arey, only one Daksha did, everybody is getting lost." Yes, because if he does good also, everybody is getting benefited. That is the point. So if and they broke all the pots made for use in sacrifice, and some of them began to extinguish the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary lines of sacrificial arena, and some passed urine on the arena. So they typical tamoguna activities. This is how it happens. Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages. Some threatened the women assembled there, and some arrested the demigods who were fleeing the pandal. And they were like huge in number. That's why Manima, one of the followers of Lord Shiva, arrested Bhrigu, and Virabhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati Daksha. Another follower who was named Chandesha arrested Pusha. Nandishwara arrested demigod Bhaga. So, and then there was a continuous shower of stones, and all the priests and other members assembled in the sacrifice were put in immense misery for fear of their lives. They dispersed in different directions. So they were in really great danger. It is not just the number is huge, that's why they could not do anything. And Virabhadra tore off the mustache of Bhrigu, who was offering the sacrificial oblations with his hands in fire. And then Virabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who has been moving his eyebrows during Bhrugu's cursing of Lord Shiva, and out of great anger thrust him to the ground and forcibly pull out his eyes. So they are giving actually apt punishments. Who did what? Accordingly, they are getting punished. And just as Baladeva knocked the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Virabhadra knocked off the teeth of both Daksha, who assured them while cursing Lord Shiva, and Pusha, who by smiling sympathetically had also shown his teeth. So they are remembering who did what also. They they identified which fellow did what when Shiva is cursed, and they noted. They mark the person, and they say, okay, when time comes, we'll we'll settle the accounts. And the followers of Lord Shiva are settling the accounts with Daksha's followers. Here, a reference is made to Aniruddha's marriage, a grandson of Lord Shiva's, Lord Krishna's. He kidnapped the uh, daughter of Dantavakra, and thereafter he was arrested. Just as he was to be punished for the kidnapping, the soldiers from Dwarka arrived, headed by Balram, and a fight ensued among the Kshatriyas. This sort of fight was very common, especially during marriage ceremonies when everyone is in a challenging spirit. In that challenging spirit, a fight was sure to occur. In such fights, there were commonly killing and misfortune. After finishing such fighting, the parties could come to a compromise and everything would be settled. This Daksha Yajna was similar to such events. Now all of them, Daksha and demigods, Bhaga, Pusha, and Bhrigu Muni, were punished by the soldiers of Lord Shiva, but later everything would come to a peaceful end. So this spirit of fighting between one another was so exactly inimical, was not exactly inimical, because everyone was so powerful and wanted to show his strength by Vedic mantras or mystic powers. All these fighting skills were very elaborately exhibited by different parties at Daksha. They said, okay, let us show our powers. So it is not just exactly inimical, Prabhupada is telling clearly. So they are just settling their accounts. They say, you did, na? I will also show what I can do. That's all. Then Virabhadra, the gigantic personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful. He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus Virabhadra was exceedingly bewildered. He said, because Daksha himself is very powerful, so it did not happen. Then Virabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals have been killed. He took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. So that mission is more powerful than the weapons and mantras. In this connection, it is to be noted that device used for killing animals in sacrifice was not designed to facilitate eating their flesh. The killing was specifically intended to give a new life to the sacrificed animals by power of Vedic mantras. So the government, they they started creating missions. They acquired actually missions for the slaughterhouses. These missions will very fast cut the throat of animals so that the animal don't feel pain for long time. So that is the missions the government is creating to increase slaughterhouses so that people can eat more and more meat. Can you imagine how much sinful reaction the government will get and the people who are doing it? So purpose is even in the modern age, tests are executed on animal bodies in the uh, psychology laboratory. Similarly, whether or not the Brahmanas were uttering the Vedic mantras correctly was tested by sacrifice in the arena. On the whole, the animals thus sacrificed were not at all the losers. Some old animals would be sacrificed, but in exchange of their old bodies, they received other new bodies. That was the test of Vedic mantras. Virabhadra, instead of sacrificing animals with the wooden device, immediately beheaded Daksha to the astonishment of everyone. So now we may question, Are, you are chanting the mantra. If mantra fails, that you unnecessarily sacrificed an animal, right? It won't happen like that. And then, upon seeing the action of Virabhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons had that had come made a tremendous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Daksha. So it's nothing, it's not inimical, it's a fighting spirit. Virabhadra then took the head with great anger, threw it in the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it to as an oblation. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailash. Bhagwan Shiv ki jai. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of fourth canto, fifth chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Frustration of Sacrifice of Daksha. Oh, tomorrow is Shivratri. Lord Shiva will be very pleased with us. We have discussed this past time. Yes, after this also, Prabhuji, Sita can provide some questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandaspanam. Prabhuji, this some illumines comes like bad signals, like a cat you were saying, na Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Can we change that situation? Like somebody is getting this kind of bad omens. If we stop doing that, he will be like, can he save the situation, Prabhuji?
They are actually they it's an indication that they should not do activity, they should change, but something cannot be changed. It's just that karma is coming for them, so they have to accept it. For outsiders, for others, for devotees, not a problem. Krishna will take care. Just have to continue whatever you are doing,
So
hearing chant.
devotees need not, they need not think it like this, Prabhuji. Like this.
We just have to continue hearing, reading, chanting, and then Krishna will take care. Don't worry about illomins because we want to be under control of Krishna, so not a problem. Even see illomins come also. What for Yudhishthir Maharaj is such an exalted devotee. He also is seeing illomins. Before
Yes,
Kurukshetra battle, they were illomins. But
yes, Prabhuji.
what did Yudhishthir do? He just continued serving Krishna. So for us also same thing. Even if illomins are there, that should make us more surrendering to Krishna. Oh Krishna, things are not going to be good. So let me be more dependent on you. You give me the strength, you give me intelligence so that I can face them like that.
Prabhuji, and one more Kailasa we have in this material world, that is in Ilavarsha, Prabhuji.
Ilavatavasha, yes.
And that is subjected to destruction, Prabhuji.
No,
At the end
no,
of Mahapralaya.
no. It is abode of Lord Shiva. It will always remain.
Oh, and Dhruva planet also, it remains, Prabhuji. Dhruva planets also,
Yeah, it is
Mahaplanet.
Vaikuntha planet. Yeah, Vaikuntha planet.
And Prabhuji, this Dhruva planet, eternally it will be there, Prabhuji, or he will, that Dhruva Maharaj will go to the,
No,
enter into
Dhruva
the
Maharaj
Vaikuntha.
will go to spiritual world, but the planet will remain.
Oh, cha. That is also eternal, Prabhuji. Dhruva Loka also.
This is Vaikuntha planet. Lord stays there.
And Prabhuji, where is this Shweta Dvipam, Prabhuji? Shweta Dvipam.
Uh,
Shirosa and Vishnu.
yeah, actually there are different locations. If you There are three places where Lord Vishnu stays in this metal creation. So one of the places is Svetadvip. So some say it is in Dhruva planet, and some place where in this metal world, in the Bhu Mandala also there is one place where Lord Vishnu resides in the Milk Ocean. So there is also Svetadvip.
And what is third one, Prabhu? One is that one, that Dhruvaloka, and one is the Bhumandala, and one more, Prabhu.
Or place I forgot. It is also somewhere here only.
Prabhu, this Pralaya time, Mahapralaya time, so now this remains like Svetadvipam and Kailash. They remain
Even
Dhruvaloka.
Dwarka, Vrindavan, Ayodhya, Jagannath Puri, all these places remain also.
Oh, acha, acha, acha. This I heard, Prabhu. Puri Jagannath remains, I heard, Prabhu. Puri Jagannath will remain during that time of Pralaya also. I heard that. Like similarly, Vrindavan also, Vrindavan, Madura
Yeah,
also.
all the holy places they remain. They don't get affected.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.